We are joined for the first time on the Aztecs Power Hour in the world of sports by the new offensive coordinator for Rocky Long's football team, former head coach at UCLA and Tulane. Bob Toledo is with us here on XTRA Sports 1360. Coach, it's good to have you on the program for the first time, and welcome to San Diego State.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be on. I'm excited to be here.
Tell us a little bit about the process of how you got to San Diego State, Bob.
Well, basically I was retired, and I was kind of consulting or volunteer coaching at Cal Lutheran, where I live in Westlake Village by Thousand Oaks. And obviously Rocky lost his offensive coordinator, Andy Ludwig, and so Rocky called me and asked if I'd be interested. And, of course, I still got a lot of gas in the tank, a lot of energy, so I said, well, I'll come down and look at it. And so my wife and I came down a couple weeks ago and talked to Rocky, and my wife said Rocky'd be the only guy you can go back and coach for. So here I am.
No wonder the Calu Kingsmen have been so tough for my Pomona-Pitzer Sage Hens to beat in recent years.
Did not know that he was.
Bob
did not know he was doing that.
Was helping out in the Sky Act there. Well, Bob, tell me about Rocky Long and your relationship and how you view him as a coach. We kind of fallen in love with him on this show. We love everything about Rocky, his bluntness, his gambling nature out on the football field. But how do you see him as a fellow coach?
Well, I feel the same way. You know, he's a heck of a defensive football coach. He's a tough guy. He's a competitive guy. What you see is what you get. You know, he's a man's man, I guess you can call it that. But, you know, I hired Rocky as my defensive coordinator when I was the head coach at UCLA, and he was with me for 2 years, and we were successful. And his last game with me was the Cotton Bowl against Texas A&M, which we won, and then he went on to New Mexico, where he was an alum and a great quarterback. So we had an experience there, and obviously I coached against him when he was at Oregon State, too. So I knew that his defensive scheme was very difficult to prepare for and to play against. And then, so I when I left UCLA, once again he called me and said, hey, how would you like to come and be my coordinator at New Mexico? So because it was Rocky, I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I went with Rocky that year, and you know, we had some success. We beat Utah. We beat San Diego State and a couple other people, and ended up playing in a bowl game, the New Mexico Bowl.
Bob Toledo is with us, the new offensive coordinator of the San Diego State Aztecs, now working with Rocky Long here in San Diego. Bob, you look at the Aztecs and the roster you've got coming back on offense, and you've got to be pleased with what you have to work with. You've got Adam Dingwell, who got a lot of playing time last year after the injury to Ryan Katz, and of course you've got Adam Mwema as a star running back coming back, and some pretty good receivers. So you're coming into a situation where you've got some pieces to work with.
Well, there's no question. You know, the cupboard's not bare for sure, and that was obviously a big concern, is do we have enough players? And I think we do. You know, I think there's some quality players, and there's some quality depth, and now it's our job to try to mold them into a unit. But they're going through the off-season program right now. I haven't seen them actually run or throw or catch or do any of those things, obviously, but I have had them come in, and we've talked one-on-one. I've met some of the guys, and they seem very excited about what's happening, and I'm looking forward to, you know, getting with the coaches and putting in the system, as they say. They're out and recruiting right now, but do that, and then looking forward to spring practice and see how these guys really perform. And you know, depending on what they do is really what we'll do offensively, because I firmly believe that you know, you do what your players do best, and so whatever they can do, we'll throw some stuff at them, and what they do well, that's what we'll do in the fall.
I know as an offensive coordinator and then head coach at UCLA, you weren't afraid to reach into the bag of tricks occasionally on offense. I'm sure Aztecs fans are wondering what you might be bringing in that respect. What's your philosophy when it comes to those kind of trick or gimmicky plays that sometimes pop up from time to time?
Yeah, I hate to say they're trick or gimmicks, but they're special plays, and I think the fans can count on me running at least a couple of them every game. You know, some kind of reverse pass or reverse or trick play, as you mentioned, something that is out of the ordinary. Because I think that number one is it gives you a chance to make a big momentum play and hopefully a touchdown, and then number two, it makes defenses have to practice against it, and when they're practicing against your special plays, it's taken away from their time to actually defend your base offense. And I think it's fun because the players know we're going to run it. I don't ever run a special play in practice that I don't run in the game. And I think some coaches do that. They'll run all these plays in practice and they never run them in a game. So if we run a special play in practice, it's going to be run in the game, and the players will know that.
Bob Toledo is with us, and we're glad he's with us here at San Diego State. New offensive coordinator working under Rocky Long. Have you seen the growth around college football, Bob? I mean, since you were at UCLA and then now Tulane and now here at San Diego State, but it seems like the level of play in the Mountain West Conference is much more comparable to what it was at UCLA when you were there now as opposed to then.
Well, I think the Mountain West Conference has some outstanding players and coaches, and I honestly believe that it's getting more and more competitive with other people. I mean, you can go and compete against them now, and maybe in the old days you couldn't do it on a regular basis, but I really believe that right now San Diego State can compete with all those people, and that's what you want. You want to have a chance to have a level playing field and be able to be competitive.
Speaking of UCLA, Coach, what do you think of Jim Mora's season last year? I mean, they went through a long dry spell after you left, trying to keep up with USC in that town and not having a ton of success and going through a string of coaches. Do you think they finally found the answer after so many years?
Well, I think Jim did an outstanding job, and I know Jim, and I knew his dad real well, and of course they were down there with the Saints, and I met Jim when he was actually kind of almost a graduate assistant, if you want to call it that, with the San Diego Chargers. That's when I first met him. But I think he did an outstanding job. And it's all about players. You know, you got to recruit good players, and I think they're on the verge of getting some good guys. They've got some good young people in their program, and I think they'll continue to get better. So I'm happy for Jim. Disappointed that it's taken so long to get back to where we were, because, you know, we did win 2 Pac-10 championships and win some major bowl games, and hopefully that'll happen for them in the very near future.
And imagine you think the sky's the limit at San Diego State as well. I know Rocky Long feels that way, and you wouldn't come back if you didn't feel like you guys could get yourself to a major bowl game even at San Diego State.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. And like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Rocky. And, you know, I just think so much about him as a person, as a coach. And so I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited about the players we have and the attitude that they have, and looking forward to opening up the season next year.
What are your feelings about the college football playoffs, what they're going to do and what you think they should be doing?
Well, obviously they're gonna move to having 4 teams. I'm a big advocate of having a playoff system. You know, the people complain that, well, they got to go to school, they got to do this and that, but Division I AA or whatever you want to call it has been doing it for years. And I think you need to solve who the best team is on the field, not through a bunch of media people, unfortunately, right?
That's right. Don't leave it up to us.
It's decided on the field, and that's why I'm a big proponent of having a playoff system. But again, that's off in the future somewhere.
They haven't come and asked you exactly to lay something out yet, huh?
Right.
Rocky's not afraid to express his opinion. He thinks an 8-team playoff would be the best.
He said 8. Yeah.
I tend to agree with Rocky. So.
I think eight or more.
8 or more would be good. Hey, Bob, welcome to San Diego. We appreciate you spending a little time with us on the Aztec Power Hour and look forward to working with you next year. It should be some fun.
Well, it was my pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you guys again, okay?